Now joining me, Senator Connie Johnson. She is running for governor of Oklahoma. She was a state senator in Oklahoma, but only for 33 years. And she's done some amazing things in the past, including some controversial bills that I was amused by and very much in favor of. So first of all, welcome to the program. Great to have you here.
Great to be here. Thank you so much.
All right. Now, why come back into government after serving for 33 years and try to win this seat, especially in the middle of Oklahoma, where normally people would think it would be really difficult for a Democrat to win?
Because we have to have a Democrat try. I am not tired yet, as the saying goes. And so I'm very much looking forward to bringing the knowledge and skills that I've amassed over the last 35 years to the problems that are facing our state right now in terms of a busted budget and no new revenue streams that can be depended upon, and just ideas that are going in the wrong direction. We're last in everything good and first in everything bad. And I believe that my particular skills and interest and knowledge and vision is what Oklahoma needs right now.
So, Senator Johnson, you're a trailblazer in Oklahoma. You're the first woman and the first African American to win a U.S. Senate nomination of any major political party in Oklahoma. And then you went on to do some amazing things. One was particularly controversial on the issue of sex. We'll get back to that in a second. But I want to talk about marijuana, because you were also a trailblazer on that well before everyone else was. So back in 2005, you started asking for not only to change the marijuana laws, but start talking about the prosecution of people and the need for criminal justice reform way before other people were talking about that. So what drove you on that issue?
Those were the issues affecting my community at the time. Beginning in 2000, I noticed that 60%, a high percentage of children in a relatively well-to-do neighborhood, were being raised by their grandparents because of the incarceration of their parents. And I studied that, and I realized that Oklahoma's a little too conservative to go full-blown legalization. So I thought I would take an incremental approach, and actually I called my proposal the Compassionate Use Act. Because we have children who are dying from Dravet syndrome, epileptic seizures. We have veterans committing suicide at tremendous rates. And we have a lot of just diseases and conditions in Oklahoma that I had studied a long time, and I knew that medical cannabis was a solution to what we were needing and versus opiates. Opioid addiction in Oklahoma is off the chart. I think it's the #1 cause of overdose deaths. But our positions on cannabis, which could actually help people cycle off of opiates and methamphetamine, our position was in the dark ages. It's still very much a part of the mindset of the war on drugs and reefer madness, if you will. And Oklahomans took that lesson to heart. Serious education has to go on here in order to get people thinking differently and believing that we have we're sitting on a gold mine. First of all, hemp, a form of cannabis, grows wild in Oklahoma. It grows between the cracks of the concrete. We used to lead the nation in rope production in World War II, and we used to pay farmers to grow it until the 1930s, when it was criminalized along with marijuana, either for medical or adult use purposes. So knowing all of those things and now realizing that our budget is busted and there are no real new sources of revenue, they're tried and true schemes that have been going on for a number of years unsuccessfully. So the marijuana issue for me is now threefold. It's about compassionate use, it's about industrial use, and it's about discontinuing, incarcerating so many people at a tremendous cost to our state, because we're one of those states that have a 98% bed occupancy guarantee with private prisons. So our lawmakers are incentivized by private prisons and other private industries to pass egregious laws that are really taking a toll on the people who are least able to afford them. So It's economic. It is compassionate, and it's definitely about not ruining so many people's lives, and disproportionately Black and brown people's lives in Oklahoma.
Well, you mentioned how hemp could actually be profitable and could help the economy. I don't know if people know this. The richest president we ever had, adjusted for inflation, was a hemp farmer. His name was George Washington.
Yes.
And he was, adjusted for inflation, was even richer than Mitt Romney when Romney was running in 2012. And he did that based on hemp farming. So it's a little piece of interesting American history. But to me, yes, legalizing because it's the right thing to do. It's if you believe in freedom, yes, for the economy, but most importantly for justice, to get all those people out of prison for basically the equivalent of drinking a beer. Now, but I did want to talk about another controversial thing you did. So you've got this storied career. You've been a state senator for 33 years. You went to Ivy League school. I don't know why we keep having people from Penn graduates on. I'm also a Penn graduate. We're not planning it.
Wow,
but,
awesome.
Yes.
I'm going to alumni weekend. Come join us.
Okay, likely not because I'm too busy, but that would be awesome. It'd be great if we met there and had a beer or something else.
Andrea Mitchell.
That's right. That's right. Unfortunately, Donald Trump. Oops. So that also happened. So then in 2012, you introduced a bill to outlaw male masturbation. Why did you do that?
We were in the midst of preparing to pass the personhood bill, which not even Mississippi would do. And it was the first day of session. I had been a staff person for a number of years on the committee of the gatekeeper who kept all those negative reproductive issues from coming forth. The year he termed out, the next year there were 11 bills introduced, and it kept getting worse every year. So that on this day, the first day of session, I heard about the bill going to be heard on the first day. I wrote the amendment while I was sitting listening to the first woman governor of Oklahoma's State of the State message. And I told my colleague, I said, I'm gonna introduce this. And he said, no, you're not. I said, yes, I am. So we get to committee, and my colleague there introduced his amendment. Of course, they voted it down. We're like 5-2, Democrats to Republicans. And I took that opportunity to debate my amendment because I didn't think they were gonna let it be heard. Well, they did. They read it. The chair turned red. And basically, I was just fed up with us only addressing the woman's side of the issue when it comes to reproductive health. We never talk about the fact that it takes two to tango. And so I just made that point very poignantly that literally when a man ejaculates anywhere other than in a woman's vagina, it would be considered a violation of the personhood bill. Of course, my bill was voted down. But in the meantime, The Daily Show contacted me, no local media, but international media contacted me, national, wanting to know more about the proposal. And The Daily Show came and filmed a skit along with me and the major protagonist, who coincidentally has resigned the Senate because he was found in a hotel room with an underage boy smoking marijuana. But he really did not understand. And you have to watch it to get the point of it. But it's just interesting that people have found that funny. I was serious, even though I know biologically it has nothing to do with that. But I was one of perhaps 5 or 6 women legislators that year who drew up ironic and sardonic amendments to those kinds of proposals. And I think it worked. They released the skit the day before the bill was supposed to go to the House floor. The bill never went forward from that point. And I won't take all the credit because that year, an amazing coalition of women came together. We had women who were in favor of in vitro fertilization, who normally don't coincide or collaborate with women who favor abortion. But all groups were working together, and we had a pink wave rally. That's where my colleague, former Senator Judy Easton McIntyre, and I held up a sign that said, if I wanted the government in my vagina, I would a senator. So that made national news, but we had fun and it worked. It worked. I mean, sometimes you just have to do what you have to do.
So I want to be clear. We covered it at the time, and I thought it was brilliant. So there's three reasons why Senator Johnson's bill there made sense. Number one, if they're going to try to control women's bodies, why can't we control guys' bodies? You don't want control of guys' bodies, then don't control women's bodies. Number two, you say you're worried about potential life. It's a fair point. It's potential life, right? And number three, they base their so-called pro-life position theoretically on the Bible. Well, the Bible also says you shouldn't masturbate. It's called onanism, and it's a sin. So which one is it?
Something new.
Do you believe the Bible or don't you believe the Bible?
And back to marijuana, God created it in Genesis 1:29. And he said, this is good. So in the Bible, in the buckle of the Bible Belt state of Oklahoma, I am not ashamed to advocate for a change in our policy. I'm not ashamed to advocate for progressive policies along the same style as Bernie. I was the only Bernie superdelegate in the state of Oklahoma. And I just believe Oklahomans are ready for a bold change in direction. And I can't think of anyone more bolder than me. There are like 11 people in the race, and I'm the only woman, and I'm the only person of color.
Well, look, if you want bold, then you're going to go Connie Johnson. Okay, that one's clear. I don't think anyone can dispute that. So I want to give everybody the links here. ConnieForGovernor.com is the website. And then, of course, you got donation and volunteer links as well. And go to her website and read her policies, because she got great policies on education, healthcare, government corruption. So please check that out. And if you can volunteer and if you can donate, the links will be down in the description box if you're watching this on YouTube, and in the comment section on Facebook. Senator Connie Johnson, it was an absolute pleasure. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.